And now we have on the panel with us Mr. IPS Oberoi, Senior Advisor MB Kinney and Company with over 30 years of experience at very senior level in banking and finance with additional focus on legal aspects and real estate. His present area of legal practice include all litigation matters in all courts, tribunals, especially in areas of banking, finance and real estate. And today he is going to present on stamp duties. So ladies and gentlemen, warm round of applause for Mr. IPS Oberoi.
Good evening, friends, and the lady and the gentleman on the dais with me. In the beginning, I don't know whether I should blame or appreciate the organizers for putting me at the end of the session with such a boring topic. Normally, you would be saying the last over in IPL matches is so interesting. There are 13 runs to score, 2 wickets in hand, and everybody is glued to the TV and watching. Well, here I find everybody is looking at the exit door and when it will land. But nonetheless, we have a job to do. And of course, when you're talking of IPL, we just seen that how 19 runs can be scored in the second over. A few days ago, yesterday only we have seen. So I don't mind being at the last over, trying to play whatever it is. Thank you. My friend Mr. Atul Sharma in the last session very eloquently said that he will try to make the topic as interesting as possible. I envy him. I assure you I can't make it interesting. Because the topic is stamp duty, robbing the people of something. But nonetheless, whatever job is to be done is to be done. So I'm here with you. And stamp duty is a mode of collecting revenue by the governments. Very in the simplest of terms. I'll try to make it as simple as possible, if not interesting, simple at least. I won't use much of legal jargons, and I will run through it as early as possible with simple elucidation of whatever is there in the stamp duty. Earlier in the speaker, Mr. Sunil Agrawal, he was talking about taxes in a very disparaging manner. This tax, that tax, that tax, that tax. And of course, stamp duty is also a form of tax. It's a revenue to be collected by the government by levying on the instruments, certain instruments. And those instruments are the ones which are described in the Indian Stamp Act or in the corresponding state acts. The Indian Stamp Act pertains to certain transactions to be stamped which are normally the commercial or business transaction or finance transactions, like the bill of exchange or a check or a promissory note or a letter of credit or a bill of lading, these type of items, instruments, which I don't think would be of much interest to the gathering here, which is more interested in the real estate terms. But the instruments which are related to the real estate or property matters, they are covered in the list 2, the state list. And those are the instruments on which the state governments have a right of deciding and levying the duties, levying the rates of them. And as I said earlier, it's a revenue earning exercise, revenue earning activity of the governments. So we'll try to run through whatever we have here with you. It's a source of revenue for the governments. And of course, when it is revenue for the governments, it's not like what revenue Mr. Sunil Mantri was referring when he was talking about the JVs. He was talking about the revenue which comes to the people sitting out here. But this is a revenue which goes from the pockets of the people to the government's coffers. But nonetheless, because the governments have to run, so they will need the revenue. It's levied in terms of the Indian Stamp Act, which is the central legislation. And of course, the state governments have their own. Either they have adopted the similar legislation or some of the state governments have come up with their own legislation, like the Bombay Stamp Act, which is applicable to the entire state of Maharashtra. And these are fiscal enactments, as you mentioned here, with the same only purpose of preventing evasion of taxes. So many of the people, or maybe some of the people, or maybe at least one or two of the people out here may be looking for evasion of taxes, but this is an act which is meant to prevent evasion of taxes. And how this is achieved? It is achieved in the manner that any instrument which is not properly stamped or is understamped will not be admissible in evidence in any judicial proceedings. So by preventing that If you do an act, if you don't stamp it properly, or if you don't stamp it at all, you have an instrument with you, but that instrument you can't utilize in any court of law, in any judicial proceeding in your favor. That makes the people come and do the proper stamping. Now we go little bit to the distinction between the State Act and the Central Act. List 1, as we know in the Constitution of India, Article 246, Schedule 7 contains 3 lists. 1, which is the Central Union list, 2, which is the State list, and the third will be the concurrent list. The Union list at the entry number 91 relates to the items which are there which are governed by the Central Act, which I told you earlier. And in the list 2, the entry number 63 talks about rates of stamp duty in respect of documents other than those specified above. That means whatever we are looking out here in the reality conference, any instrument related to that will be covered by the State list. And accordingly, the stamp duties pertaining to the instruments that are used in the real estate transactions are stipulated by the state government. They have their own rates. That's why they will be differing from state to state. Now, some of the basic rules, some of the basic items of any act are generally defined in the beginning of the particular statute. Here also, the section 2 is defining the various definitions. And the definitions which are relevant to us are just tabled down over there: chargeable, chief controlling authority, collector, that means he is the person who is going to collect the taxes, or he is the overall authority for collecting the taxes, and conveyance, as my colleague, friend Mr. Atul Sharma ji had mentioned, that conveyance is the document, is an instrument which has been defined in the Indian Stamp Act, which is the one which is most relevant to the present day topic out here, when we are talking of the real estate transactions. And of course, duly stamped immovable property, mortgage deeds, of course, which is also an instrument which is able to taxation, settlement deeds, etc. Shall we move on? The most important instrument pertaining to immovable property, as I said earlier, is conveyance, which is item number 23 in the Central Act, as well as item number 23 in the Delhi Amendment Act adopted by the government. In the Bombay Act, it is at item number 25, in which they have defined what will be the rate of stamp duty chargeable on conveyances. Shall we move on? Now, I will tell you a little bit about the Bombay Act. I think most of the people out here are pertaining to the NCR area. But because the organizers are from Bombay, and Bombay is one of the biggest real estate markets, the Bombay Act, as they have adopted, as they have enacted, is very much wider as compared to the Central Act, or as compared to the acts of other state governments. And in which, they have included certain items, like in the Article 5GA, it has been prescribed that payment of stamp duty as is leviable on a conveyance, in case the agreement gives authority or power to a promoter or a developer, by whatever name called, whether it's JV or whatever name called, for construction on, development of, or sale or transfer of any immovable property. So, whatever chances were there earlier of evasion of tax duties, the Maharashtra Act, Bombay Act has tried to cover those by incorporating certain very fine articles, stipulations in the Bombay Act. Similarly, even on any agreement which is evidencing transfer of tenancy, even that is taxable as per Article 5GD. And of course, leave and license agreement, they have made that it will be taxable on the basis of the annual rental value plus the security deposit. So, Bombay Act is quite wider, covers much more areas as compared to the Central Act and as compared to the acts of most of the states. Now, I am just running through some of the basic duties that the stamp duty is paid by either adhesive stamps or impress stamps. Adhesive stamps is procedural, must be cancelled while executing. Stamp duty is levied on the instruments and not on the transactions. And all instruments chargeable with stamp duty which are mentioned in the Stamp Act over there, executed by any person in India, has to be stamped before or at the time of execution. When we are going to execute a sale deed or a conveyance deed, or when we are going to do a power of attorney or a mortgage deed in which possession is also transferred, the adequate stamp duty as per the prescribed act has to be affixed and paid at the time of execution to make the document acceptable in judicial proceedings. Otherwise, that particular document will it may have its legality, but it will not be accepted in evidence in any judicial proceedings. And of course, like in case there is any instrument which is executed outside India, pertaining to any immovable property out here in India, then it should be stamped. It may be stamped within 3 months after it has been first received in India. That's one of the aspects which is covered in the Act. And who pays the duty? Who pays the stamp duty? In the absence of any agreement, the expense for providing the proper stamp shall be borne by the grantee. That is the buyer, the person who is going to get the property, or the person who is going to get the property transferred in his name in case of a conveyance or a similar instrument. And of course, there is a power of adjudication, and any instrument which is not duly stamped can be impounded by any person in charge of a public office before whom it is produced or comes in the performance of his official functions. So if it's a sale deed or a mortgage deed or whatever document which is not properly presented, and it is presented in a public office, and the authority of the public office observes or notices that it has not been properly stamped, he has got a power to impound that particular instrument. Of course, as per section 35, there is an act. No need to go into the sections because they are all there and they are not meant for the people out here. It's the legal jargon. Under instrument can be admitted in evidence on payment of the deficit duty along with penalty of 10 times of the deficit duty. If there is any deficiency in duty on a particular instrument, then payment of the deficit duty plus 20 times the deficit as a penalty, if it is paid, then the particular instrument becomes properly stamped, and it then can be admitted in the evidence in any judicial proceeding. And one more last thing, its lease is defined in section 216 of the Indian Stamp Act. It has been defined in a much wider scope and much more exhaustive than its definition which is given in the section 105. You need to note the section of the Transfer of Property Act. So the definition of lease, because lease is one of the aspects, one of the ways in which properties are transferred or conveyed or moved. So the lease definition in the Indian Stamp Act is very wide, so that any document which is covered in terms of the particular 216 of the Stamp Act pertaining to lease must be adequately stamped. So lastly, I must say it's a purely fiscal legislation. It does not give any strength to a particular instrument or document merely because it has been stamped properly. An instrument or a document has to stand on its own feet. The legality of the document is not proved merely because of the stamping. The stamping is a fiscal act for earning the revenue, and the state governments who are the authorities for the purpose of administering the stamp duties, they are the ones who have enacted it, and this particular stamp duty is not to be used as a defense or as a weapon by any litigant. Suppose there is a litigation going on between parties, so it cannot be enacted, it's not enacted to arm a litigant with a weapon of technicality to defeat the case of the opponent. It's merely a activity for generating revenue for the states. I have nothing more to say. I hope whatever is of use presently to the people out here in this particular Stamp Act should be adequate. If there are any further queries or any further aspect at any time in future, any of the participants can get in touch with us. Thank you very much.